You need to come down here now or you're going to go to jail. You need to move your car.
No, I ain't move my car.
Okay, you're under arrest. You're under arrest.
No, I ain't.
You've seen some of the crazy cases that I've personally had in West Virginia. Here's another one for you. This sketchy neighbor calls the cops on my client. He convinces the cops that my client's wife's car is parked on the neighbor's property.
I asked him this morning to move it, or I was going to call you guys out here to have him move, because there's a law states on the books that he can't do that. It's SC-
Do they say it's a civil matter? You have to file a lawsuit, take him to court.
I can't have a car towed off of private property.
I know I can have it towed,
Yeah,
but
yes,
you can do the criminal part. I mean, it's right here in black and white.
This is what they actually did.
Come down here.
Come here.
No, get off my property.
No, come here.
here.
You need to come down here now or you're going to go to jail. You need to move your car.
No, I ain't move my car.
Okay, you're
It's
under
my
arrest.
property.
You're under arrest.
No, I ain't. You're hurting me.
Stop resisting.
See that stake? You're on the wrong side of it.
No.
Yes, he has the same Fourth Amendment rights that you do.
Right. I understand that. But I'm just trying to save a whole big spiel here.
And ironically, that was just said after those two police officers just arrested my client off of his front porch without a warrant, which literally violates the Fourth Amendment. This has got to be one of the best body cam videos I've seen in a long time. So let's break it down. I'll show you some of the biggest constitutional violations, really, that have ever appeared on body cam. I'll tell you what happened with the criminal case. It's now over, and what we're going to do next, and how you can help. This happened almost 2 years ago, July 31st, 2022, in Tunnelton, West Virginia, which is in Preston County. That's up in the northern part of the state. This involves the Preston County Sheriff's Department and specifically two deputies. And this is pretty funny. The main deputy who's involved, Deputy Knotts, has the same last name as my client, in this case, James Knotts. Deputy Knotts wrote in his police report that he was dispatched to this location in Tunnelton for a threats complaint, that the caller, this is the neighbor, Charles Shorter, had stated that his neighbor James Knotts was having a property dispute and that Mr. Knotts had made mention of a firearm during the dispute. So Deputy Knotts and the other deputy, who's named Deputy Hahn, arrived and spoke to Mr. Shorter, who provided the property deed and showed the deputies the property markers. They concluded and wrote in the report that Mr. Knotts' car was obviously parked on Mr. Shorter's property.
This guy here,
Okay.
we had a dispute a while back. He said the property line was over here. Well,
Okay.
I had it surveyed.
Okay.
The property line is where the fence is.
Okay.
So he moved his car out. Now he moved it back after so many months. He's trying to block this driveway, so I can't get up around. I got a road that goes up around here to my building.
Okay.
I asked him this morning to move it, or I was going to call you guys out here to have him move, because there's a law states on the books that he can't do that. It's SC-
No. Well, we can't make him move a car off private property. You can tow the car off of private property.
Well, you tell him. Well, because when I told him that, he told me he's going to go in the house and get a gun and shoot me.
Okay, we'll go talk to him about the gun thing, but as far as the property dispute goes, that's not a criminal law. That's
So I can
civil.
legally have it towed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, state with this law that states it, I can. I can pull it right here up on West Virginia Penal Codes. Right here it is. It's S17C-14. And it says they can be charged with $100 in the court systems, so that's a criminal offense. See what I'm saying?
I can't have a car towed off of private property.
I know I can have it towed,
Yeah,
but
yes,
you can do the criminal part.
No.
Why can't you? I mean, it's right here in black and white.
This dispute between neighbors involves a right-of-way that Mr. Shorter claims belongs to him, and Mr. Knotts apparently had his vehicle parked there. Who the property belongs to, if anyone, remains in dispute, and it is for a circuit court judge to decide if somebody files a lawsuit to determine that issue. But the necessary filings would have to be made. Law enforcement officers on the scene are not capable, nor can they, nor should they, nor are they legally allowed to make such determinations at the scene. Not their job. And this starts out sort of the correct way. The officers properly telling him, look, this is a civil matter. You have to take this guy to court. And in fact, he doesn't seem like somebody you'd want to take his word for it anyways. I mean, he's very agitated. In some of the criminal litigation, there was a footnote written by my client's criminal lawyer that says this: counsel for defendant cannot, from the discovery provided from the state, determine if this is the same Charles Shorter that counsel has been able to research. If it is the same Charles Shorter, then this individual has had his own run-ins with the law, including a conviction for obstruction in Monongalia County for not leaving a residence after a domestic disturbance, and, according to the law enforcement officer that wrote the criminal complaint, taking a combative stance with the officer, and allegedly telling the woman at his home that she was done for B. Use your imagination on that word. It further appears that Mr. Shorter has had at least 2 domestic violence protective orders issued against him. His agitation on the Bodycam footage certainly makes it appear that he is the same person. In fact, he made a thinly veiled threat of his own at the end that he would have to shoot Mr. Knotts, and we'll get to that. But here's the rest of the deputy's conversation with Mr. Shorter, and somehow you'll see things changed.
It says, it shall be unlawful for any driver or vehicle to stop, park, or leave standing unattended any vehicle on private property, roadway, or driveway, private property, without having express or implied permission from the owner, tenant, leasee, such land. Any person that violates this provisions of this section of guilty misdemeanor.
Do you have your deed that shows this?
Yes, this is my 20-foot right away.
Do you have Do you have paperwork that shows that?
Yes,
Can you show it to me?
Yes.
Where's this guy live? Will you run a registration? Where does he live, in the trailer?
Yeah, he lives up there in that trailer. No matter what, I want him arrested for threatening me with a gun, period. That is against the law. Right here is my property. Right here. This is my 20-foot right of way. I had it pinned all the way down through there, but they ripped them up. You know what I mean? Okay.
So where's this line at?
Right here. Surveyor stakes right there. He's just doing it to be a dick. So I can't use this driveway because he always thought it was his, and I just told him I wasn't going to argue with you. I'm going to have it surveyed, do it the legal way. I've done everything on my end legally. You know what I mean?
Title to real estate is not the sort of split-second decision that police officers are supposed to make at the scene, as previously discussed. But this guy pulls out a survey plat, which is what this is, and he's claiming that this is proof that this car is parked on his property. Now, I don't have a copy of that survey, but we can actually pull a screenshot off the officer's body cam and zoom in enough to where I can see this guy's survey plat. And if we look at it, you see Mr. Shorter's boundary. It's where it says Charles Shorter Jr., and it's the bold dotted line, 0.264 acres. All right, that is Mr. Shorter's property. To the right of that is James R. Knott's property. That's my client's property. Now, where the car is parked is in this area that says Middle School Drive, formerly, I believe it says Franklin, possibly, Avenue. So it's within the roadway. The stake marker that Mr. Shorter keeps pointing to is presumably, and it appears to be, along his bold dotted line as indicated on the plat of survey. Therefore, the car is not parked within the 0.264 acres that this plat of survey says that he owns. In fact, if you look above his property, it points to the area that is contiguous to this alleged disputed piece of property. It says unknown ownership, possible alley. So it appears to me, as a West Virginia lawyer, it appears, if his survey is correct, that he does not even own the property where this car is sitting. He might have a right-of-way across it, but I don't see where this car is blocking him using this roadway to access his property.
Okay. All right, we'll go talk to him. We'll be right back. Come down here.
I don't care.
Come down here.
I don't care.
Come down here.
No.
Come here.
No. Get off my property.
No. Come here.
No.
And here is where we go completely off the rails. This was just a call. There's no arrest warrant that's been issued. No warrant involved at all. Ironically, the officers have just been shown a survey plat identifying where Mr. Knott's boundary lines are at his home. They cross the boundary onto his property. They walk towards the trailer that he lives in. They encounter him standing outside his front door on his porch. Officer Knotts orders Mr. Knotts to come down off his own front porch. Mr. Knotts says no. The officer again demands that he come off of his porch. The officer is standing on his property. As an American citizen, you can order anyone to leave your property, including police officers, unless they have an arrest warrant for you or a search warrant for your residence. The Fourth Amendment gives you that protection. It was given to us by our founding fathers. It blows my mind that police officers across the country apparently don't either understand that or they were never taught that. They treat these situations just like they're encountering a pedestrian in the parking lot at Walmart or on a sidewalk somewhere. They don't appreciate the fact that, all right, they're on this guy's property, not just his property, but they're standing in his front yard and he's standing on his front porch. That completely changes the constitutional analysis. They have no right to be on his property without his consent, unless they come back with a warrant.
Come here.
That's my property. I'm not moving.
You need to come down here now or you're going to go to jail.
I don't give a fuck. Don't jail. You bitch better get a cup all you want to. I'm going to start fucking a cop truck over. He's dope head
Listen.
or you're dope head.
Listen.
It's my property.
No, it's
I don't
not.
give a fuck.
No,
my
it's
property.
not. No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Come on, I'll tell you.
No, it's not.
You don't put no cup on it.
It is not.
You don't put a cup on it. No.
Listen. You need to move your car.
No, I ain't moving my car.
Okay, you're
It's
under
my
arrest.
property.
You're under arrest.
No, I ain't under arrest.
Notice how Deputy Hahn, off to the right, acting like a total goon, is putting on his leather gloves to get ready to attack this 60-something-year-old disabled man right on his own front porch after being asked to leave the property. What's the most important fact here? That's that these officers do not have an arrest warrant. Police officers cannot perform a warrantless arrest of somebody at their residence. They must have an arrest warrant For this to be a legal arrest, assuming there was even probable cause to arrest him, they'd have to leave, go get a warrant, and then come back and arrest him. But they didn't. They just put on the gloves and grabbed him. Now, the violent parts I'm going to have to censor, but in the link below at the blog post, I will put the uncut, raw violence that was used against Mr. Knotts. And that includes Deputy Hahn going behind him, grabbing Mr. Knotts' arm and twisting it violently behind his back and throwing him through the air. This resulted in Mr. Knotts having to get surgery to repair the rotator cuff on his shoulder. And when you look at these screenshots of exactly what Deputy Hahn violently did to this guy who was standing on his own porch, who was not threatening the officers in any way, who had not committed a crime, it's completely unreasonable and, in my opinion, a excessive force violation. Yet another Fourth Amendment violation on top of the fact that they performed an illegal false arrest of Mr. Knotts within the curtilage of his home. And when I say in his home, the U.S. Supreme Court in Florida versus Jardines held that the front porch is an integral part of the home, and it's to be considered as the same thing as being inside the home. So even though he's on his front porch, legally speaking, constitutionally speaking, it's treated the same as if he was inside his house.
Stop resisting. Put your hands behind your back right now.
You hurt me.
Stop resisting.
It didn't have to go like this. You understand?
Let me up.
No, you sit still.
Hurt me.
You'll get up when I say you can get up. You understand?
The fucking
Stop.
drunk anything?
Roll over. All right.
You're in service.
God damn it, you hurt me.
No, 1015.
Can I show you?
See that stake? That's it. You're on the wrong side of it.
No,
Yes.
I'm right. That's it.
No, you're on the wrong side of it.
But the deputy's absolutely wrong. The car is on the roadway side of the stake. It's not on the other side of the stake, which presumably would be on Mr. Shorter's property. What is he even talking about? And that's not an arrestable offense anyways. That is a civil matter. And he wasn't arrested for allegedly threatening anyone with a firearm. No firearm was found. This guy doesn't even own a firearm, according to his wife. And then the cops come back on the rails, sort of, and they inform Mr. Shorter that there's no evidence that a firearm had anything to do with this, and they can't arrest him for allegedly threatening Mr. Shorter with a firearm, despite everything they just did.
I'm right there, though.
No, you're not. You're on the wrong side of it. You're under arrest for obstructing. 6-6, come on, sir. He's going to.
That's uncalled for.
Well, he's going to jail fighting us right now, so.
Yeah. Well, he's intoxicated. You can smell it on him.
The problem with the threatening thing is, it's one. He said, she said, or he said, he said.
Right.
There,
I got cameras all around, but they don't pick up sound. You know what I'm saying?
he's going to jail, but I can't charge him with threatening you with a gun because I don't have any evidence that it actually happened.
Right.
I'm not saying he didn't.
Well, I'll talk to the magistrate about it because
You can get a personal safety order against him,
Yeah.
but I have to have evidence that the crime occurred. And you saying it, okay, just the same as he could come over and say the same thing.
Right.
You
Well, I
know
don't
what
say nothing that's bullshit.
I
I'm
know,
telling the truth.
but he could easily say that about you. And if I could just go arrest him because you said it, I could go arrest you because he said it.
Right.
You understand?
I just don't want him coming back, being ignorant, pulling a gun, and I have to shoot him. I don't want that on me.
I don't want you to have to do that either. But he has the same Fourth Amendment rights that you do.
Right. I understand that. But I'm just trying to save a whole big spiel here.
But
document it if you can.
Well, there's.
I'm gonna have it done.
All right. We're gonna take
it,
it,
guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
By the way, notice how Deputy Hahn, Mr. Tough Guy, doesn't need the gloves anymore. He's taking the gloves off and he's putting them back in his pocket. Let's review. Deputy Hahn puts his gloves on, getting ready to use violence against this old man who is disabled.
You need to come down here now or you're going to go to jail.
I don't give a fuck, go to jail. You bitch, you got a couple all you want to. I'm told third fucking cocksucker over. He's no kid, all yours, no kid.
Listen.
It's my property.
No, it's
I don't
not.
give a fuck. It's my property.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is, sir.
No, it's not.
What? I'll tell you.
And Deputy Hahn taking the gloves off again.
Come back, being ignorant, pulling a gun, and I have to shoot him. I don't want that on me.
I don't want you to have to do that either. But he has the same Fourth Amendment rights that you do.
Right. I understand that. But I'm just trying to save a whole big spiel here. Document it.
You alright?
I slept on that weird ass water. I couldn't think of coming out.
Obstructing. I told you to come downstairs or down off the porch and talk to us. No, you didn't. 6'6" constable.
James Knotts was arrested without a warrant. He was charged with obstructing, and that was the only charge that the officer told him he was charged with. But when I guess they sat around and came up with some additional things they could charge him with, they charged him with more. They also charged, and this is laughable, in addition to obstructing, they charged him with battery on an officer. I mean, I don't need to show you the screenshots again. Clearly that was battery on an officer. 2 counts of battery on an officer. And refusal to fingerprint. I mean, give me a break. But the ending was a good one. The public defender's office was appointed to represent Mr. Knotts, and they got all the charges dismissed. And it wasn't just because the prosecutor took a look at the body cam footage and did the right thing. No, they had to force it through the criminal justice system. So they filed a motion to suppress based on the Fourth Amendment violation that took place, as I had already explained to you. And on September 29th of 2022, the magistrate dismissed the case based on that motion to suppress. And the prosecutor's office was still intent on prosecuting poor Mr. Knotts. They even filed a petition for writ of prohibition to the circuit court to try to get that overturned. But the case, from my understanding, remained dismissed and went away, as it had to. That was a blatant Fourth Amendment violation and also blatant excessive force. This is, as I said, one of the most egregious body cam videos I've ever seen. Certainly worse things have happened to people, but I don't know if I've ever seen police officers just so blatantly disregard really the most important constitutional right, and that is our home is our castle, the Fourth Amendment. That is the heart of the Fourth Amendment. And I'm willing to guarantee there's been no discipline to the officers here, and that's where you come in. Express your First Amendment protected free speech and let them know how you feel. Let the Preston County Sheriff's Department know how you feel about public servants violating their oath and treating people in this way. And for my part, I'm going to file a Section 1983 civil rights lawsuit in federal court here. It's been almost 2 years. I just got this yesterday, and I'm going to file a lawsuit as soon as possible. But this should be one of the easiest cases probably I've ever had. It's all on video, and there's just blatant violations here. So if you want to follow along, please subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. If you have a video you want me to review, use the submission link below. Also follow me on Twitter at JohnBryanESQ or on Facebook at the John H. Bryan Attorney at Law page. Remember, freedom is scary. Deal with it.